You walk into a crowded room and suddenly, the air thickens. Every glance feels like a spotlight. Every whisper, a critique. Your posture stiffens. Your laughter sounds unnatural. You adjust your shirt, smooth your hair, replay your last sentence in your head. Was it too loud? Too awkward? Too you? But here's the cruel joke: no one is watching. Not really, or are they? This is the paradox of the spotlight effect. The visceral, inescapable sense that you are the protagonist in everyone else's story. That your flaws and stumbles are broadcast on a screen only others can see. It's the reason you rehearse mundane conversations in the shower. Why you obsess over a mispronounced word from 3 days ago. Why you feel like an imposter in your own life. But the deeper question isn't why you feel this way. It's why you need to. What if this isn't just social anxiety? What if it's something far older, darker, more fundamental? A glitch in the human condition. A survival mechanism twisted into a prison. You were born into a world that taught you to see yourself through invisible eyes, to sculpt your identity under an imagined gaze. But whose gaze? And why does it hold such power? Consider this: you've never actually seen yourself. Not directly. Only reflections, photos, fleeting glimpses in windows. A fragmented self, mediated by surfaces. Your entire identity is built on second-hand data. So when you walk into that room, you're not just imagining judgment. You're borrowing it, internalizing a chorus of voices that aren't there. But here's the unsettling twist. What if the spotlight isn't an illusion? What if it's real, just not in the way you think? The ancient Greeks had a word, theatron, the seen place. Theater was a religious act, a mirror held up to the soul. But in the modern world, the audience never leaves. You're both actor and spectator, performer and critic, trapped in an endless loop of self-surveillance. The spotlight doesn't come from others, it comes from you. So the real question isn't, are they watching? It's, why are you? And the answer lies in something far more profound than social psychology. It's a story about consciousness, about the birth of the self, about the moment humanity woke up and realized it was naked. Not just in body, but in mind. This is where the trap begins. Not in the room, not in their eyes, but in the silent, relentless theater of your own skull. And the only way out is to see the stage for what it really is. The spotlight doesn't just distort your perception, it rewires your reality. Every time you walk into a room, convinced of invisible scrutiny, you surrender a piece of yourself to an audience that doesn't exist. The cost compounds in silence. Relationships become performances. Joy becomes a curated exhibit. Even solitude turns into rehearsal. You are no longer living, you are preparing to live, perpetually waiting for some hypothetical moment when you'll finally be seen, understood, validated. But the cruelest consequence isn't the exhaustion, it's the self-betrayal. Cognitive scientists call this hyper-reflection. The obsessive monitoring of your own thoughts and behaviors, as if through an external lens. Like a snake eating its own tail, consciousness begins consuming itself. The more you scrutinize your words, the more unnatural they become. The harder you try to appear authentic, the more you calcify into a caricature. This is why social interactions drain you. You aren't just speaking, you're simultaneously editing the transcript in real time. Neurologically, this creates a sinister feedback loop. The brain's default mode network, the circuitry responsible for self-referential thought, goes into overdrive. Like a city locked in eternal midnight, your mental landscape becomes a hall of mirrors, each reflection distorting the original until nothing remains but warped approximations. Studies show this neural hyperactivity correlates with anxiety, depression, and even imposter syndrome. The spotlight doesn't just feel real, it leaves scars. Culturally, the consequences are even darker. Aldous Huxley warned of a society enslaved by its own appetite for validation, where people come to love their oppression. Social media is merely the latest stage for this ancient drama. The metrics are new: likes, shares, follower counts. But the hunger is primordial. We've outsourced our self-worth to a digital jury, turning the spotlight. effect into a global epidemic. The result? A generation drowning in the very shallowness it claims to despise, performing authenticity so convincingly it forgets what authenticity ever was. But the most devastating consequence is existential. When you live under an imagined gaze, you trade agency for illusion. Every choice becomes a reaction to phantom expectations, hypothetical judgments, fabricated standards. Over time, this erodes the core of free will. You stop asking, "What do I want?" and start asking, "What will they think?" Even when they are ghosts. Jean-Paul Sartre called this hell is other people. But the deeper truth is worse. Hell is the version of other people you've internalized. The spotlight effect isn't just a distortion, it's a theft. It steals spontaneity, replaces it with calculation. It steals presence, replaces it with surveillance. Worst of all, it steals identity, replacing the messy, vibrant, ever-evolving self with a hollow marionette dancing for empty seats. And yet, here's the terrible beauty of it. None of this is inevitable. The chains are real, but they are not unbreakable. The theater is a construct, the spotlight, a trick of the mind, which means you have a choice: keep performing for phantoms or step off the stage entirely. But how? The answer lies in a rebellion so ancient, so primal, it predates even the concept of an audience. And it begins with a single, subversive act. Stop believing your own eyes. The way out begins with a single jarring realization. The spotlight is a hallucination, not a metaphor, not an exaggeration. A literal misfiring of perception, a glitch in the way your brain constructs reality. Like a dream where you're naked in public, the terror feels real, but the judgment exists only in your mind. The moment you grasp this, the entire illusion begins to crumble. The radical shift. From performer to witness, Eastern philosophies have long understood what Western psychology is only beginning to articulate. You are not your thoughts. The part of you that fears judgment, that replays conversations, that agonizes over imperfections, that's not you. That's a mental construct, a survival mechanism gone rogue. The solution: meta-awareness. Instead of drowning in self-consciousness, you learn to observe it. Like watching a play from the balcony rather than being trapped on stage, you create psychological distance. When you feel the spotlight burning, ask, who is the one noticing this feeling? When you replay an awkward moment, label it. This is my brain running its old survival script. When you catch yourself performing, interrupt it. I am no longer auditioning for my own life. This isn't passive acceptance, it's active defiance. The counterintuitive weapon, deliberate exposure. Paradoxically, the fastest way to disarm the spotlight is to step directly into it, on your own terms. Do the awkward thing on purpose, wear an odd outfit, sing in an elevator, dance badly in public, prove to your brain that the world doesn't end when you're not perfectly curated. Practice failure theater. Intentionally make minor mistakes, spill your coffee, mispronounce a word, and observe how little others care. Reverse the gaze. Next time you feel scrutinized, study the people around you. You'll realize they're just as trapped in their own mental theaters as you once were. Each act is a strike against the illusion's foundation, the neurological hack. Rewiring the default mode meditation isn't just spiritual, it's neuroscientific rebellion. Studies show that consistent mindfulness practice weakens the default mode network, the brain's self-referential chatterbox, thickens the prefrontal cortex, the observer that can detach from thoughts, reduces activity in the amygdala, the fear center screaming they're watching. This isn't about emptying your mind. It's about shifting power from the mental projector to the one watching the film, the ultimate liberation. Existential indifference. Viktor Frankl survived Auschwitz by realizing one unshakable truth. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Apply this ruthlessly to the spotlight effect. If no one is truly watching, why perform? If some are watching, why let their gaze dictate your worth? Even if the whole world judged you, by what authority do their opinions define reality? This isn't nihilism. It's the most profound form of self-ownership. When you stop conflating visibility with value, the spotlight loses all power. The first and final act of defiance, the rebellion, culminates in a simple but revolutionary pivot. Stop asking, "How do I appear?" Start asking, "What is true?" The first question keeps you trapped in the theater. The second shatters the stage entirely. But this is only preparation for the final revelation, one that doesn't just free you from the spotlight, but transforms how you perceive reality itself. Here is the secret that unravels everything. There is no spotlight because there is no fixed you to illuminate. The very thing you've been trying to protect, yourself, your identity, the persona you present to the world, isn't a stable entity. It's a fleeting pattern, a story your brain tells to make sense of its own chaos. The spotlight effect persists only because you believe in the mirage of a permanent, definable you that can be judged, evaluated, or exposed. This isn't philosophy. It's neuroscience. Your brain constructs your sense of self in real time, stitching together memories, sensory input, and social feedback into a convincing illusion of continuity. But peel back the curtain, and you find no central commander, just an ever-shifting network of thoughts, impulses, and conditioned responses. The you that fears judgment is the same you that imagines it exists to be judged. The mirror has no reflection. Consider this. When you recall an embarrassing memory, who is the you that feels shame? The person who committed the act? The person remembering it? Or some imagined observer of both? When you rehearse a future conversation, who is the performer and who is the audience? Even now, as you read these words, who is the you experiencing them? The terrifying and liberating truth is that consciousness has no center. The spotlight doesn't shine on you. It shines from you, projecting the illusion of a solid self onto the world. The grand deception of separateness. We suffer the spotlight effect because we've been conditioned to believe in two fundamental lies: that you are separate from the world, that others are separate from you. But quantum physics, mysticism, and cutting-edge neuroscience all whisper the same here. Separation is the primal illusion. Your brain didn't evolve to perceive reality. It evolved to create a useful fiction of individuality. The spotlight isn't just something you imagine others cast on you. It's the fundamental error of believing you, and they exist as independent entities at all. The death of performance. When this realization lands, not intellectually, but viscerally, something extraordinary happens.